Most people live inside houses they never designed. They inherit the walls of belief, the ceilings of fear, and the narrow hallways of other people's expectations. They move furniture around, hang new art, paint the walls a different color, but the structure never changes. They wonder why it keeps collapsing. They don't realize they've been living in a mental building drawn by someone else's blueprint. Parents, teachers, media, culture, everyone leaves a line on your plan. And one day, you wake up in a life that doesn't feel like yours. But here's the truth: your mind is architecture. Every thought is a beam, every emotion is a brick, every habit, every reaction, every belief is a structural decision. And the question isn't whether you're building, you are. The question is whether you're building on purpose or just living inside whatever someone else built for you. 1. The foundation, thought. Every structure begins underground, where no one sees. That's your thought pattern, the silent architecture of every action you'll ever take. Most people never inspect their foundation. They build skyscrapers of ambition on mud made of impulse, noise, and borrowed ideas. Then when life shakes, they blame the wind instead of the weakness of their base. Every belief you hold is either a beam or a crack. You must start asking, does this belief strengthen me or weaken me? If it weakens you, you don't need to decorate it, you need to demolish it. This is what I call mental engineering. It's not about positive thinking, it's about structural thinking. If you repeat, I am strong, but spend your days surrounded by habits that prove otherwise, the words become wallpaper, overwrought. Instead, every morning, inspect your foundation. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about the world, about people, about myself? And is it built on truth or convenience? Doubt is not your enemy. Doubt is the stress test of the structure. Only beliefs that survive pressure are worth keeping. 10 minutes of inspection each morning, in silence, without your phone, is more valuable than 10 hours of consuming motivational noise. That's blueprint time. That's you in the role of architect, not tenant. 2. The walls, emotion. If thoughts are your beams, emotions are your bricks. They're the materials that give the building shape, texture, and color. And like bricks, emotions can either be stacked neatly into strength or scattered into rubble. Most people think emotional control means suppression. It doesn't. It means curing. You don't throw away wet bricks. You let them dry, harden, and set. When anger rises, you don't smash it down. You study it. You ask, what line in my blueprint is this trying to protect? When sadness arrives, you don't drown in it. You trace it back to the place where something valuable cracked. Emotions aren't enemies, they're inspectors. They tell you where your structure is unstable, but you have to be calm enough to listen. When emotion rules, architecture fails. A man ruled by his emotions can't hold a line. He bends, he breaks, he rebuilds endlessly, but never completes. A man who commands emotion turns storms into energy. Emotional mastery is the art of feeling deeply without losing direction. It's the skill of letting waves hit you while you remain the cliff. That's not coldness, it's strength cured by patience. 3. The frame, environment. Even the best blueprints collapse in bad weather. That's your environment, the climate you live, work, and think in. We underestimate how much it shapes us. People, habits, lighting, sound, even the temperature of your room. All of it either stabilizes or sabotages your structure. You cannot build clarity in a storm of distraction. If your phone lights up every minute, your mind never hardens. If your friends normalize laziness, you'll call discipline extreme. If your room is cluttered, your focus fractures. Environment isn't decoration, it's architecture. Change your workspace, move your desk near light, silence the devices, and remove one toxic voice. That's not minimalism. That's structural optimization. Even cities and sounds shape you. The man who lives in constant noise learns to think in fragments. The man who spends time in silence learns to build symphonies of thought. If you can't control the whole environment, control 1 square meter of it: your desk, your bed, your workspace. Make that square meter a fortress of clarity. The rest of the world will begin to adjust to its gravity. 4. The roof. Purpose. Every structure needs a roof, something that keeps meaning from leaking out. Without purpose, you'll spend your life patching holes with distractions. Purpose isn't found, it's constructed. You don't wait for a calling, you decide what you'll serve, and then you build the skills to serve it well. Purpose is what aligns the rest of the structure. It decides what materials you accept and what you discard. Ask yourself, what am I building that will outlast me? If the answer is nothing, you're not an architect, you're a renter. Purpose gives you endurance. It turns pain into pressure, not punishment. It lets you endure storms because the house you're building shelters more than just you. Every day, tie your actions back to your blueprint. If what you're doing doesn't support your design, it's wasted material. Purpose doesn't need to be grand, it just needs to be yours, chosen, not assigned. A man who knows his purpose never wakes up lost. 5. Structure over chaos. Let's pause and pull this together. A strong mind isn't mysterious, it's constructed piece by piece. Thoughts inspected instead of assumed. Emotions managed instead of obeyed. Environment designed instead of endured. Purpose chosen instead of chased. That's the architecture of self. Most people live like tenants. They complain about the leaks, but never pick up a hammer. They envy the builders, not realizing they had the same materials all along. The world doesn't give freedom to the chaotic. It gives freedom to the structured, because structure is what makes motion precise. When your mind obeys you, your world follows. When your mind disobeys you, your world becomes a storm of your own making. This is the essence of sovereignty, not control over others, but design over self. 6. Practical blueprinting, action section. Let's talk application. How do you begin to build a mind that obeys? Start with 3 daily disciplines: small, concrete, measurable. 1. 10 minutes of mental inspection every morning. Sit with no input, no phone, no noise. Observe the thoughts that appear. Ask, does this strengthen or weaken my structure? Write down the weak ones. Reframe them with truth. 2. 1 act of voluntary hardship daily. Cold shower, disciplined study, a workout, or saying no when it's inconvenient. Each time you choose discomfort deliberately, you reinforce the beam of control. Your nervous system learns obedience through action, not theory. 3. Environmental edit once a week. Change one thing in your space or your circle that makes focus easier. Clean, remove, or rearrange. Every external order reinforces internal order. These 3, inspection, hardship, environment, form the blueprint of discipline. Repeat them long enough, and obedience becomes instinct. Remember, architecture is never finished. Buildings are maintained, reinforced, expanded. So is your mind. You'll find cracks. That's normal. You'll tear down sections that no longer serve you. That's evolution, not failure. You'll learn that the structure you build determines not only how you think, but how you feel about thinking. A well-built mind is a quiet mind. A quiet mind is an obedient one. And an obedient mind builds an unstoppable life. Most people are tenants in their own minds, paying rent to fear, comfort, and distraction. But not you. You can draw your own blueprints. You can lay your own foundation. You can select every material that makes you stronger, because in the end, you are both the architect and the foundation. And the structure you build inside determines everything you build outside. So build deliberately, inspect your thoughts like an engineer, temper your emotions like steel, shape your environment like a fortress, crown it all with purpose, and your mind will obey. And once your mind obeys, the world follows. This is Discipline Forge, where we don't wait for clarity, we design it. If you're ready to build, subscribe and start drafting the architecture of yourself